Built as a prequel to Netflix's Army of the Dead, Army of Thieves presents a multinational cast committing multiple bank heists across Europe. Now, robbing banks doesn't really require you to be socially confident, but because of their plans of manipulation and deceit, social confidence would certainly help. Unfortunately for the main character of this film, Sebastian, who is also known as Deiter, he may be socially confident, but he is quite the socially awkward character. He gets overly excited about not so excitable things.
It's so nice to be meeting you and joining the team. Woo!
His jokes are not very funny.
To cat sit for a week. We're off the grid.
But we're on the cat grid.
His screams are a little over the top.
Fuck me.
And he says the word gulp when he actually gulps.
What?
Did you just say gulp?
Yes, I said it and I did it, yes.
But even being a quote-unquote nerd, as he's called in the film, Sebastian is still the best at what he does. That is, he is the best safecracker around. And as a result, he is recruited into an international bank heist group where he gets to put his skills to the test for a whole lot of money. In this movie, we see 4 scenes all involving Sebastian that just scream social anxiety. Let's get into them. Scene number 1. Sebastian makes YouTube videos which show his face. Making YouTube videos while showing your face is a big no-no for someone who actually suffers from social anxiety disorder. Showing your face on such a publicly visible platform can really cause the anxiety demons to overreact. The face is the most looked at part of a person when interacting with someone. Having your face consistently shown while making YouTube videos can make you an easy target in the online community. Although typically about the topic of the video, the comments section can also contain not so pleasant messages about the content creator, in this case Sebastian. And perhaps even worse is the overthinking of the possibility that people you know in real life have watched your videos and are now judging you negatively on them. These anxiety thoughts would be consistent and they would be intense, which would just lead to a high degree of self-consciousness while driving Sebastian's mind completely nuts. Overthinking is a huge part of social anxiety disorder. Scene number 2, the coffee shop conversation with Gwen.
Wanted to have the secret is a 7-turn tumbler system with over 1 trillion possible combinations. Yes, trillion with the letter T. Trillion, yeah?
Listen to me, Sebastian. Look around. The world's fucked. This window of opportunity isn't just our only chance, it's yours.
The night prior to this coffee shop conversation with Gwendolyn, Sebastian saw her from a distance for the first time. She even slightly smiled at him as he became instantly attracted to her. It was as if time had moved slowly for him. Now fast forward to the next morning and Gwendolyn surprises him at the coffee shop while hilariously startling him.
Hello, Sebastian.
Speaking to Gwen, who he has already built up in his mind as a beautiful and attractive woman, would make any man nervous and anxious. And in Sebastian's case, it's no different. The type of social anxiety this would provoke can lead to him blushing and sweating right in front of her. He would be trying his absolute best to hide his red, moist face, which can be a very difficult task when trying to focus on the conversation. He'll end up missing details of the conversation, misunderstanding ideas that she talks about, and even responding with generic, superficial responses that lack any depth or insight. All in all, she would think less of him by the end of their talk. Not to mention, she would have already noticed him wipe off his sweaty, red face several times. The conversation becomes even more anxiety-provoking when she puts her hands on his. This can be tricky because oftentimes, someone with social anxiety may develop sweaty hands and palms during an anxiety-provoking event, like talking to the person you have a crush on. If Sebastian had social anxiety disorder, Gwen may have felt his sweaty hands and become disgusted with him. You could only imagine the types of worrisome thoughts that Sebastian would have in his mind once she put her hands on his. Scene number 3, the bedroom conversation with Gwen.
My father was a rich asshole. One who got richer from the collapse of the housing market. I mean, he stole from people who had next to nothing.
Look at me. Old Sebastian talking to the most interesting girl in the world. Can you believe my luck? This was the greatest evening of my life this far.
Sebastian is spending the entirety of the night speaking to the woman he has a huge crush on, and at times being invited to sit next to her on her bed. Now, although nothing intimate happened between them, someone with social anxiety would likely be sweating heavily multiple times throughout the nightly conversation. The fear of making a bad impression on Gwen would be pounding through his mind, which leads to anxiety symptoms. He would be analyzing everything she says and does, projecting her thoughts about him, or at least what he thinks her thoughts are, to his own inner thoughts. Sebastian's mind would be on overdrive as his inner talks with himself would be focused on hiding anxiety symptoms, embarrassment prevention, and a plan of what to do if he starts blushing and sweating. So instead of focusing on the conversation with Gwen, which would just support his efforts in making a good impression, Sebastian is focused on thwarting anxiety symptoms. Although someone with social anxiety disorder has a decreased level of control of what goes on in their minds, it's never a good idea to focus on symptom prevention and a plan B, so to speak, while in the middle of a conversation. All it does is make your mind go more and more haywire, leading to negative assumptions about what she thinks of you, and ultimately cause a trembling voice, shaky hands, super fast heart rate, running out of breath after every sentence, and of course, the dreaded facial sweating and blushing, which are the most prominent and obvious symptoms of social anxiety disorder. Scene number 4. Sebastian confesses his feelings to Gwen.
Gwen, I really like you a lot. And I just wanted to take this opportunity to say it.
You know, you always choose the worst time to...
I'm sorry.
At the end of the movie, after cracking the last safe, Sebastian and Gwendolyn are in the car and just arrived at the lake where they have a boat waiting for them to take them to safety. Police are on their way and they need to move quickly before they arrive. It is here, for some reason, that Sebastian decides that this is a good time to tell Gwendolyn how he feels about her. Now, this is one of the most obvious instances of social anxiety that someone can develop for similar reasons that I mentioned earlier for scene number 2 and scene number 3. But in this case, we're adding an already existing stressful situation to the mix. They are trying to escape the authorities after successfully cracking the last safe, stealing all that money, and are now running away from the cops. If they get caught, they will be imprisoned. So the situation is already quite stressful. So at this point, Sebastian's mind is already filled with stress and anxiety hormones. So to confess his feelings to the woman he is desperately attracted to during this time will only increase the stress and anxiety even more. It would just intensify the existing symptoms. Someone with social anxiety disorder would not confess their feelings to their dream match. This just wouldn't happen for multiple reasons. The fear of rejection is too overwhelming, the fear of being judged is too overwhelming, and perhaps even worst of all, the fear of extreme facial flushing in addition to other social anxiety symptoms is all too overwhelming. If Sebastian starts sweating, turning red, and feels his hands trembling and his voice shaking in front of his dream girl, he would be absolutely humiliated. This would be intolerable for someone with social anxiety disorder. Just the thought of confessing feelings of romance and love to someone who you're attracted to will cause severe anxiety. Just the thought. So those are the 4 scenes from Army of Thieves, which would really just scream social anxiety for someone with social anxiety disorder. Certainly there are more scenes, but these are the 4 big ones that I recognized in the movie. If there are other scenes that you'd like to point out in this film that cause social anxiety, please comment below. Also comment below if you'd like me to make a video on another movie or show that you'd be interested in. If you found this video informative or interesting, please hit the like button for the YouTube algorithm and subscribe to my channel for more videos like this.
Okay, yes, this has been my video. Thank you for the viewing. Please like and hit the button with the word subscribe on it. That's it. Thank you and goodbye.